Today we would like to talk about existence and life. And one of the famous philosophers once said, I think, therefore I exist. I would like to do some addition to that statement. I think, therefore I must find a reliable method like critical thinking to express that I exist. And to talk about existence, to talk about life, I think we have to improve our self-awareness. We have to think in terms of critical thinking, and we have to objective about the discussions that would contribute to understanding of these concepts. And I would like some input from my friends.
Fascinating beginning with I think, therefore I am, therefore I am allowed myself critical thinking. I personally have a problem with the definition of life, as my colleagues all know. It is my opinion that life definition is not easily obtainable, nor do I believe is there a universal definition of life. If you look up what it means in a dictionary, they will tell you certain qualities that living organisms have or may not share. First and foremost include growth and metabolism and reaction to stimuli and reproduction. However, when you push the boundaries of each individual quality or quantity or analytical quality of the aforementioned, it becomes apparent to me that we delve into a nebulous region, and what comes to mind perfectly as we go smaller and smaller, the viruses. Masoud has mentioned earlier that life implies, or at least involves, probably nucleic acids and DNA. If you go back further and say, well, certain viruses just evolve out of RNA and not DNA, would you consider them living? Well, viruses cannot reproduce on their own, but yet I believe that most biologists would consider viruses a living entity, quote unquote, whatever that definition means. I am not thoroughly convinced that life has to involve carbon or DNA material, but certainly it becomes much more manageable and easier to think about life when you're dealing with the common substances that we all attribute to life, including carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, phosphorus, and the like. With regards to thinking and life, I believe that the ancient philosophers probably had a very good handle on what they considered life, or a vital force, or an anime, which they would describe had to be in a substance for it to be living. I believe that once life has occurred, the entity itself, what we're calling life, there is a very strong vector force in the sense that life wants to continue to live under all circumstances. It tries to perpetuate itself under all extremes, and the end of life is when I believe this vital force, so to speak, ends. Dr. David had alluded to life in a more humanistic sense, including the importance of life, the qualities of life, and of course certain entities that involve humans and as near and dear to ourselves. But the whole definition of life and existence, do you need to have life for existence? If you did not have life, can things exist? And of course it goes back to the if the tree falls in a forest, does it make a noise? Again, it depends on how you look at things. If you say, well, no one was there to hear it, well then no, it doesn't make a noise because there's no living organism to acknowledge the sound. If you were to put an artificial machine there and say, well, you don't have to have human existence there, you can just have a recorder recording the noise, of course you will hear the tree fall. So it depends on perspectives, it depends on definitions, it depends on your level of commitment to what may or may not involve life. But I'm not sure that existence necessarily means you must have life. However, when you think about a universe without a consciousness, a universe without an organism to reflect back on itself and or its environment, then how can we possibly know what is real and what isn't and what exists and what does not?